Elf Arondir was captured by the orcs and taken to a dark tunnel in a coma. There are screams of elves and humans everywhere. Orcs chained him up and gave him a hoe to dig a tunnel. When he stood up, he realized that the surrounding area was full of elves and humans captured by the orcs. They were chained like slavery, digging tunnels for the orcs in the sun. If taking a short rest, you'll be whipped by orcs. As the sun emerged from the clouds, orcs blocked the sun with clothing and quickly moved under the tent. Orcs dug tunnels and set up tents because they feared the sun. They received orders from Sauron to retrieve Sauron's lost thing in the Southland. To avoid exposure to sunlight, they would dig a tunnel to the village. They went through tunnels to various towns to find the lost thing. Arondir discussed with the others to escape. They should discover a surrounding forest first, then break the chain to escape when the sun is at its strongest. Orcs heard their discussion and warned them don't think about running away. But now the tunnel is blocked by a large tree. The elves wanted a detour, but the orcs demanded cutting down the tree. Elves looked at the hundreds of years tree, couldn't bear to cut it down, and insisted on digging a tunnel to bypass it. The orcs aggressively told them to work as instructed. As they stalemate, an orcs leader came out laughing. He came to elves and said, "Your courage is worth our appreciation, so you will get the water I give you." Then showed them the water was clean. Working in such weather, even elves would feel thirsty. He did not refuse the jug of water. Elves took turns drinking water. When an elf was drinking, orcs slashed his throat. Arondir looked at the fallen companion and also gave in. He agreed to cut down the trees in front of him, went to the ground to observe the surrounding environment, saw the forest on their right. The elves continued to dig tunnels and waited for stronger sunlight. Finally, the time is right, there are only 2 orcs left, and the sun on the head is very poisonous. They attacked with chains and killed one first. They removed the hat from the other one's head, exposing the orc to the sun. But they were too weak. The orcs struggled to escape. Elves broke the chain on his foot before orc support arrived. As soon as the chain was broken, an elf got up and ran away. But he was killed by an axe. Orcs pulled the chains to pull elves. A tug of war happened between elves and orcs. Arondir saw an axe under his feet, picked up the axe and jumped towards the tent on the chain. The sun shone on orcs instantly, bringing more time for the elves. When they continued to smash the chains, a wolf howled from a distance. It is an orc's mount. The wolf killed 2 elves easily. Arondir seduced the wolf to attack him and trapped it in the roots. Orcs tried to pull Arondir over by the chains at his feet. He broke off a branch and stabbed an orc in the neck with it. An elf broke his chain in the chaos and ran towards the forest. But after taking a few steps, he stood still. He turned around slowly, and others realized an arrow had hit him. The orcs' army was hiding all the time surrounding. They were too naive to want to escape blatantly. In the end, only Arondir remained. An orc was about to take off his head, but a voice stopped him. It turned out Sauron wanted to talk to him. A back figure appeared. All the orcs beside him avoided kneeling. Sauron slowly appeared in the blur. They are Harfoots that live in the jungle and have no fixed habitat. When the resources in a place are not enough for them to live, the whole clan will embark on a migration. Before the migration begins, a simple ceremony is held within the clan. Everyone formed a team, let the person wearing the monster clothes walk in the front, and the others followed, shouting nobody goes off trail, nobody walks along. Pray in this way. But Nori sneaked towards the patriarch's room. But she was pulled back by Poppy. She didn't want Nori to be punished by the patriarch for reading the prophecy book. But under the persuasion of Nori, Poppy agreed to help her. Last night the mysterious man made a constellation out of fireflies. Nori wanted to find out what that constellation was in the prophecy book. He saw 2 torn pages in the prophecy book, and the constellation was on them. At this time, the patriarch came back. The patriarch had to give a speech before moving, and he returned to get the speech. Poppy deliberately shouted hello to the patriarch to remind Nori. Nori got under the table before the patriarch entered the house. The patriarch took the speech and the book was about to leave. But he found that the script was imperfect, so he revised it. Nori's hand stretched out from under the table and fumbled for the torn pages. But she squeezed a corn leaf and made a sound, heard by the patriarch. At this time, Poppy rushed to divert the attention of the patriarch. Poppy was embarrassed watching Nori fumble on the table, so she directed her to the position by hint.
Are you all right?
Yes. Almost done.
Right. No, I mean left. Yes. No, I'll tell him right now. I'll go straight now.
With Poppy's help, Nori managed to get the torn pages. The diminutive Harfoots are staying away from the world. Their only hope is a safe and prosperous life. Any danger may kill them, so they have more awe and love for life. So the evening before the migration, they would have a memorial meeting. All the clan members sit together. The patriarch reads the name of who died in this habitat and the reason for his death. Everyone will come together to mourn them. While they were in grief, the mysterious man appeared. He took the prophecy pages that Nori had kept in his backpack. It was too dark, so he took the pages to the fire and looked at them carefully. From his expression, it should be what he was looking for. He was so engrossed in the joy that he overlooked that the pages were on fire. In a panic, he fell to the ground and was wrapped in a tent. When he stood, Harfoots thought there was a monster, so they hid instantly. They stuck their heads out after realizing that it was just a human. To protect Harfoots from indeterminacy dangers, it is stipulated within the clan that no one could bring others into the clan. Nori took the person here, so she should be punished. Behaviors like this endanger the clan's safety. They consistently drive the person out of the clan into exile in the wilderness. Nori was still a kid, so she didn't impose a heavy punishment. Just let their family walk at the back when migrating. Walking in the back means no one will help you, and you have to push your bulky luggage all the way through the migration. The next morning everyone set foot on the road of migration. They filled the cart with straw for camouflage, which prevented some danger. Nori's family walked last. The car was extra heavy this time. They stopped to rest but saw that the car was moving by itself. It turned out the mysterious man had been lying in the car. Seeing a human in front of them, the rest of the family hid away. Only Nori stepped forward bravely. Nori has been helping the man since she rescued him from the crater. He has regarded Nori as a friend. Finally, with the help of the man, Nori's family embarked on the road of migration again. They didn't take long to catch up with the line ahead. A human ship slowly sailed towards a fairyland-like island. Galadriel looked at the huge human statues, realizing here was Numenor. This is the westernmost territory, near Valinor, the hometown of elves. Cross this arch bridge to reach the city inhabited by humans. Mountains and rivers surround it. People's life is very prosperous. A river runs across the country, which is convenient for trade between people. The houses are close together to form a thriving scene. The reason why humans can establish a kingdom on such an island starts from the time when elves fought the Morgoth. At that time, humans in the Southland fought against elves with Morgoth, and some other humans chose to ally with elves against Morgoth. After hundreds of years, elves finally won and Morgoth died. So the elves gave the nearest island to Valinor to the humans who helped them. Humans established the nation Numenor on this island. After hundreds of years of development, the country was prospering. Galadriel followed the captain of guard ships to the port. The people saw an elf appearing in their country and began to talk about it. Originally, Numenorians and elves were close as a family. But over time, the country began to refuse to communicate with elves. Even elves' ships were not allowed to pass here. The captain took Galadriel to meet the queen. The magnificent building in front is the palace of Numenor. The queen is discussing affairs with other ministers at this time. The guard wanted captain to come back at a different time. But after he saw Galadriel's elf's ears, he allowed them to pass. When the ministers and the queen saw an elf come to the palace, they were quiet. Galadriel wanted the queen to give him a ship to Middle-earth, but the queen refused. For hundreds of years, their ancestors rejected the passage of the elf from the country. Galadriel took a tough stance. Regardless of whether the queen agrees, she will take the ship to Middle-earth. Her attitude offended the queen, so the queen called the guard. Halbrand saw that the situation was not going well and immediately settled the situation. He told Queen that they could stay first and wait for Queen to consider their request, which made Queen let down her guard. After guards escorted them out of here, the Queen summoned Captain. He had committed treason by bringing elves here, and the Queen gave him a chance to make up for what he had done and gave him a sword. Meaning if Galadriel messes up, get rid of her. Galadriel had escaped. She didn't want to be under house arrest. She came to the port, looking for a suitable ship to leave here. Captain appeared behind her, but he didn't come to get Galadriel. He gave Galadriel hope. Captain's hometown is on the island's west side, and the people there are different from here. They still welcome elves, and the library there still teaches elves language. Galadriel immediately asked Captain to take her to the library. Captain realized she was looking for something. They rode horses to the west of the Numenor. They crossed the steppe to the coast. The tallest building in front of them was their library. This library was built by elves. Galadriel was here looking for the answers. This dark letter is a human spy report found in the dungeon of Morgoth. Looking at the pattern above, Galadriel realized that Sauron's symbol was the topographic map of the Southland. A plan in the report was if Morgoth was eliminated, all orcs would obey Sauron's orders. They will make a comeback based on the Southland. After seeing this, Galadriel felt that something was terrible. She returned to the capital of Numenor to find Halbrand, who was in prison. Halbrand is the king of the human kingdom, Gondor. He is the ancestor of Aragorn and the Lord of the Rings. He was displaced since orcs took the country. Until he met Galadriel at sea. Galadriel persuaded him to go to the Southlands with her to defeat Sauron, who was about to return.
No. You're stuck on this island. You're still short an army.
That is all about to change.